for us to be very critical, because we were so positive at the beginning of this stream about this team, and honestly, their drafting has been garbage. Like, there's no real way around it. Like, they have repeatedly been drafting teams that are kind of lacking the tools to kind of really enable themselves. They always seem to be lacking a front line, or there's always something missing. And their wins have both been off kind of Verdant just making mistakes more than them having, executing their draft really well. So this game, I really want to be sold on them. I need them to draft to something solid. The Rumble has been left open. I feel like Verdant have to ban that. It still has a 100% win rate in this series. And if it doesn't get picked up here in the bans, I'm pretty sure Nativz first pick it.
Yep. Other priority picks include Jace, Tristana. Looks like we might get a handshake at that. If that Rumble ban goes through, like you say, Hip Rain. Outside of that, Ivan, but Ivan's been pretty dead this series.
Yeah, Verdant don't want to ban Rumble here. I would have thought they'd just handshake but take Jace Trist as a 2-piece just in exchange for the Rumble, but I guess they ban away the Trist and they've got something else planned for their 1-2 here.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Jace plus whatever the pick of the litter jungler they want. They could also pick away top lane if they want to secure that. Like they picked, I believe it was Renekton into the Rumble before, but they'll also need to secure an AP champion in the first 3 rotation, or they'll risk having it drop down. Maybe they go back to the Seraphine.
Well, still,
that was banned away a couple of times in previous games. The Jace known, we were expecting this to come through. Now that question is obviously, do they take the litter jungler? Hoppy removed from the ban table and picked up for Taxa. So a little bit of onus now on Nativz to draft a composition that doesn't actually have dashes, but also doesn't particularly want to engage either. Nico, Trundle, 2 very solid picks. Honestly, I've really been a fan of Nico as a champion, and the nerfs that came to her didn't really hurt the laning that much. Obviously, the big nerf came that was the you now have a time to react to the ulti. But I think that her laning is still super solid and can definitely bully Knight her out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Nico laning is really broken. I like what you pointed out there. The thing is, I think we saw Nico this weekend, actually. G2 played it. Like, that was the big series, right? Went to 5 games. They played it. Provides insane team fight. You have synergy with that Rumble as well. Looks like Rakan secured for Wendell. I was a really big fan of Wendell's Rakan in game 1. But yeah, the big one here, the big pick up is the Poppy. That's probably the highest tier jungle left on the table, and they managed to secure it.
Well, remember, Wendell was super on it in game number 1 on the Rakan. Like, he was game-winningly good on his Rakan. So we'll see what they're actually going to look to try and play around here. Obviously, things like the Xayah are still up and available as well if Gooby wants to take that. I mean, if you get Xayah Rakan just given over to Verdant, they're giving them a very, very strong kind of bot lane duo to play towards. And Nativz still yet to lock in their bot lane. The Leona, Nautilus are going to be the 2 bans coming out. Makes sense. 2 picks that can kind of punish that Rakan. Question is now what are Nativz going to look to ban away here?
You need AP, right? You need AP somewhere. That's where Nativz are going to ban. You had the option of Kennen, and you have the options of Seraphine. I think those are your big picks that Verdant are considering right now, and also Nativz are considering for banning. You banned away if you're Verdant, Nautilus, and Leona, because it's really good matchups into the Rakan blind that you've taken. But again, everything falls down on what Verdant prioritize for their AP pick.
And there's also still this element of knowing that you're going up against a Rumble. I don't know how the Gwen Rumble matchup goes, for example. I can imagine that's pretty rough for the Gwen, but you do have AP top laners to take as well.
There is the Kennen. I much prefer the Kennen. At least you have long range. I think the Gwen can get a bit melted early game. I wouldn't maybe. Honestly, Rumble is just so broken.
I would defer to you for top lane quite happily.
Yeah, Rumble just destroys most melees. He's very, very unfair. That's pretty much the TLDR in lane. And he's been like this for a while, but even more so since the rework. So Kennen secured for Nilly here. Nilly, really good range player. I played against him a bunch on range champions, and he's really, really got damn good spacing. Jeez, words. Still, Aphelios. I'd be really surprised if Aphelios gets locked in here. It's been nerfed quite a few times. We'll see what Denvoxton can do with it.
So, you know what I'd actually like here? Sorry to interrupt, but I actually think I'd like a Thresh for Twist. Yeah. It gives an element of safety for Denvoxton.
I agree.
The Kennen and the Rakan jump on him, you just lantern him out. I think that's actually my favorite pick here. We'll see what they decide to go for, though.
Surely this is just a hover.
No, this is a really good matchup. This is a really good matchup. It's an old school counter where you move speed slow Rakan, and with that quickness, he's really, really slow.
Slowness.
Yeah, slowness. It's a really, really good counter matchup. On top of the fact that you have that res for the target that Rakan jumps on, right? Because he's all about single target bursting. I really like this pick. Twist has reached deep in the support pool for this.
I'm a big fan, and I also don't really. You know what? Aphelios did get nerfs. The numbers went down. I don't think his power level went down insanely with those nerfs. Honestly, I think they were fairly placebo nerfs. The biggest thing was the slow, or the slow is now a second less on his graviton, but the other things felt fairly inconsequential to me. I do look at this Xayah that gets locked in and think you're going to have a whale of a time versus Nico. Love playing up against an equalizer where you can just Featherstorm and not take any damage versus it, reposition yourself. So outside of that, there's not a lot of things that Gooby needs to use his ulti for, which is actually really good. You know, sometimes on Xayah you'll be like, oh, I need to ulti 7 different things, and you can only do it on one of them. This game, it's very clear for Gooby. Don't get knocked up by Pot Blossom or reposition off of Equalizer, and you've had a good ult.
Yeah, absolutely. I am finally happy with draft. I think this might be the first time I look at this draft and I'm like, both of these teams actually look relatively strong. You've got a lot of engage on the side of Verdant, a lot of follow-up engage as well. You've got poke, you've got damage, you've kind of got everything you need. Nativz, on the other hand, they don't have solid engage as such unless you kind of rely on the Nico cheese. But what they do have is there's a lot of engage coming at them, and they got a lot of tools to handle that. You've got, you know, obviously the I want to say Kasing, because that's the person I think of who plays it. Zillion, there we go. You got obviously like the things like the Zillion, the Nico. Nico wants people jumping into her. Like that's the dream scenarios. Everyone comes forward and you just headbutt your keyboard and press R. I think for finally, I'm happy with a Nativz draft, even though it doesn't really have solid engage.
Yep.
Its counter engage is really good, and the enemy team are going to be looking to engage.
Yeah, I like it. They flipped the table on its head, right? Like, they've taken away the Trundle, because it's typically been Taximin playing it. But as far as the game is concerned, how I expect things to go is, at level 3, bot side 3v3 is really unlocked, right? Yeah. Poppy's one of those champions where she needs level 2 or 3, and she's incredibly strong. The same with the Xayah Rakan when they have all their spells. So I'm looking for more skirmishes around that level bot side. I think that'll be definitely explosive.
Absolutely.
I mean, like the Xayah Rakan lane, just as a 2v2, has always been devastating. Even at level 1, you can try some W cheeses where you just press W, you know, and engage onto the enemy bot. Have a decent time of things. Zillion and Aphelios notoriously weak at level 1, right? You don't have a stun for Zillion. You don't have a spell for Aphelios. You got 2 guns, great, but you don't have a lot of pushback. But once you've got a couple of points in those once you got a couple of range levels rather for the Aphelios, I think Green Gun can do a very good job at bullying out Xayah with Sniper. You know, fairly short range is Xayah as an AD carry, so we'll be interested to see whether or not DV can really leverage the range advantage early on and use the movement speed that Zillion's going to give him to make those autos even harder to come by.
Well, we're going to have to find out as we're getting ready for this game number 5. I want to see an explosive game, and that's not just because we've had kind of 4 snoozes. I really want to see what these teams are going to be capable of, because I think realistically, well, the loser of this game, regardless, is going to have to play either Nord or Ruddy. I think either of those teams are going to play way more aggressive than this team, than who they're playing right now. So I feel they need to prove to us that they're capable of playing into more aggressive teams, especially when we were talking about it in the break. But obviously, EMEA is right around the corner. And a bunch of these teams, they're going to struggle. Like, I feel the current state of Nativz or Verdant are going to struggle into some of these LFL teams, into some of these LVP teams. You know, these teams are going to go very, very aggressive into them. And I feel like you're kind of just going to roll over if you play scaling. Every time I've seen a scaling team from the NLC go to what was EU Masters, they always get clapped. So you need to be a team who are capable and aggressive, because EMEA is such an aggressive tournament.
Yeah. Definitely, I think the best iteration of a team we sent in recent memory was that Dusty lineup with Kerberos, Denvoxney, and they were just so good at team fighting, right? That was their strength, but still. Just another thing I want to add about this game, just looking forward into it. Jace is a very vulnerable champion. We highlighted in previous games, but they have a lot of setup to potentially pick on this Jace, right? They have Nico E, Nico Ulti, as well as Trundle Pillars. I definitely do think there might be avenue for action there. I am just trying my best to scrape at what could potentially be action in the early game hit brain, and I'm doing it for you. I don't think top lane is going to mean anything again, because it's a farm fest, right? With Kennen just bullying out the Rumble probably.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that one. I guess it's just one of those moments where we are just gonna have to kind of wait and see how this game does play out.
We're praying to Taxa in this one, I think.
Yeah.
Poppy is a vessel for early game aggression. Taxa obviously wielding the Poppy this time round. That's our best hope and best pray, I think. The obviously very stark counterpoint to that is that Stefan on the Trundle, an almost direct counter to the Poppy in the sense that you just win every single duel that you're going to look to take. So 2v2s, maybe not something that we're expecting Nativz to go for.
I think in terms of an isolated 1v1, I completely agree. Trundle smacks Poppy. But the thing is, like when Trundle, and this is a big weakness he has, right? He's very auto-attack dependent. You see Trundle against Sejuani, and that's great, right? Because he can alter. But if you get chain CC'd non-stop and you cannot auto-attack, that's really bad when it comes to the context of a 3 versus 3. And Poppy plus Rakan and Xayah roots are a lot of CC. So how Stefan navigates that with the Trundle is what I'm looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I have been told we're getting into game, so here we go.
No.
Game number 5, Silver Scrapes.
5-man level 1.
Please.
They've been listening here, Prain.
Please coin cost the game, man. Coin flip it. Coin flip it.
No, that'd be even more devastating. What would you prefer? That they coin flip the game level 1 and it ended in 23 minutes? Just an absolute stomp? Or we actually had another one of games 1 through 4?
Coin toss. Absolute coin toss.
Absolutely. It'd be so funny. Yeah, no, just at the very least it'd be a change, right? I think that's the main thing, but I don't think they're gonna find anyone, guys. I think it's you could see Nativz are having their own death push ideas, but they're gonna walk over a ward and get seen.
Well, there we go.
They didn't even get the ward gold. That's disappointing.
The heartbreaking Hitbrain's voice. Still some vision down on that red buff. Gonna spot out Stefan's pathing. Maybe that'll help out Verdant's bot side knowing when to fight.
Get them a little bit of information.
I do want to reassess or reset rather the expectations that we had coming into this day. Again, broadcast team almost unanimously in favor of Nativz coming into the day. Verdant have looked like the better team for 90% of this series, unfortunately faltering twice at the final hurdle, but have looked like the better team through this series. So definitely have been upsetting our expectations and have been performing above what we'd anticipated. And it's great to see from a team that we've already sent to international competition before, that if they're going to book their ticket there once again, they're doing it off the back of a series where, by and large, we think they've had the advantage.
Yeah. So Rakan going to get Prio here. Can be surprising considering Twist and Denvoxne are playing multiple range champions. Denvoxne gets engaged on.
Yep, has to heal immediately, and Wendell does take a lot of damage. So does Gooby in response, actually. So that trade looked rough, but with the Severum, I believe that's Severum red gun, does have the Sane to heal themselves back up. So it's actually not that rough for Denvoxne. He did have to burn heal though.
Fleet Footwork coming in as well. Some extra healing, lots of potions. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. When you have both junglers pathing down bot side, you want to trade aggressively, potentially force some summoners out, make the future dives or ganks much easier. They are slow stacking down bot side. Maybe they look for something here with this Poppy roaming down.
3-wave dive or 3-wave crash into a dive, definitely possible. Or Taxa, unfortunately, Zillion's laning phase fairly weak. Not the easiest thing to have a control over. Of course, Zillion and Enchanter at the end of the day, Enchanters scale exceptionally well into the late game. When you're giving movement speed to Denvoxne, his ability to kite out which everybody on Verdant is going to be second to none. We're looking at Verdant, there's no innate gap closes outside of Taxa, and even then the short-range nature of the heroic charge is going to give Denvoxne a very real opportunity to just never get touched by anybody on Verdant's side. Dodge out of Wendell's engages as well. Certainly something to keep our eyes on, because in game number 1, I think Hitbrain, you said this at the top of the draft, Wendell's Rakan won Verdant game 1.
Yes, he was so crisp with it. He was so crisp with it. So it's nice to see him back on it. Maybe a little bit nerve-wracking for Nativz, but I also feel like this time they have really good tools. I think last time, I mean, the entire day, it feels like they've kind of been a little bit lacking on that front. As Stefan is losing his crab, but he may be burning something here from Verdant. What a beautiful pillar. Zoning them off. Twist is going to come in with the double bombs as well. And Gooby, he's having to go the longest way round to his tower. And Stefan, not going to go for like any denial or any kind of play of that sort. But honestly, a massive amount of farm lost. Yeah, they got the crab, but honestly, Verdant lose out pretty hard there.
Yeah, when it comes to first crab, it's worth a lot less than future crabs, right? On top of that, junglers getting more XP than laners because of the pets and the items. It's more of a denial, but you're denying a trundle, so it's not that big of a deal, and you just end up missing a huge wave.
Yeah, it's one of those, I suppose, moments when you realise that maybe that wasn't the move to go for. Like, Oh, cool. We denied Trundle getting a crowd. That means that our Poppy is accelerated. It's almost like when two tanks are in top lane and then your tank jungler ganks it. And it's like, well, cool. Yeah. We focus the Malphite jungle, or we focus the Malphite top as a Sedge jungle. To what end, right? We're all doing the same job regardless of the 300 gold.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, I guess it means Trundle gets his item a little slower.
Woo!
That's gonna be my my take on that one.
We think the Trundle one item power spike is the be all and end all that wins Nativz the game.
In fairness, it does. The Divine Sunder is a pretty big spike, right? Like, I mean, you force out one. No, I'm coping.
What you've forgotten is he's actually going Gale Force Trundle this game. He's going to Gale Force forward and chomp Gooby for half his health.
He's already built one too many longswords for a Gale Force.
He needs this extra one for wave clear.
I understand. Yeah, it helps with the camps.
It's like, do you remember when Kai'Sa used to go serrated, even though she wouldn't actually finish that item?
Yeah.
Until like her second item. It's that.
So Stefan's going to build a serrated Dirk.
Yes. It's serrated Gale Force Trundle.
Don't try this in solo queue, kids.
No, try it in solo queue, just not my games.
Or against me, that would work. I'd allow you if you're against me.
But Taxa hiding in vision. Denvoxing actually gets knocked off.
He has no flash. He's in danger. They're going to jump forward onto him. He's just cut. First blood for Gooby. And that's just the sadness pillar.
I do want to say that right there, Gooby really recognizing the advantage in summoner spells. He knows that Wendell can flash knock up, but doesn't waste any time either. Flashes to get in range of his auto attacks, lays the Q down, that root comes through. The second Denvoxing lands, it just means that Tax's way in is all too easy. A really good gank off the back of the pressure that they've exerted in a 2v2.
Yeah, this might not be over. Vladdy's coming down to contest. He's got level 6.
Yeah, looks like they're going to bring over. Vladdy has to flash away. Vladdy does have the ability to turn this if they want to, but in they jump onto Twist. Twist can't really do too much here. Trying to step up. Vladdy turns into a Trundle for some reason. Nita jumps onto him, loses a lot of HP for it. Feathers get pulled back, then Voxney's able to dodge away. They got that Graviton, but it looks like Vladdy's decided he actually just doesn't want to fight this. And Verdant, they want to fight this. They want the early action. This is what I've been asking for all day long. We're finally getting some of it.
And it's all about bot lane, right? It's exactly what we highlighted in Champions Select. It's all about bot lane because of how just explosive Isaiah Rakan can be with Poppy at the similar levels. And a pick onto the Aphelios doesn't actually quite translate into the Dragon, but again, we highlighted how contesting bot side and forcing flashes can lead to, gank facilitation much easier, and that's exactly what happened now. Hasn't snowballed into anything quite yet. We'll have to see if he comes back down bot side and punishes that flash again.
He's going to have all of his top camps to clear, so he's foregoing either a lot of gold to be down here, or obviously just a window of opportunity to find that kill. Obviously prioritizes the gold as another engage comes down here. Lovely little parting there from Nativz, so that neither one of them gets knocked up.
I think realistically the next play that's going to happen is probably around mid. They know that Vladdy doesn't have flash for a long time, as he just used that at that dragon trying to contest her. I think it was a 3v4 until Aphelios came. So at this Rift Herald fight, Vladdy without that flash Pot Blossom is going to be a lot weaker. You could see Rakan actually recall. It looks like he might be walking up to that Rift Herald to contest.
The thing is, they didn't get vision on his recall either, so they still have to operate under the assumption that he could be in that brush, and until he shows on this top side, or until they face check it with a bomb, for example, you're going to have to operate under the assumption that the Wendell is still in your lane. Now Taxa here to see Stefan start up this Rift Herald. So far, no interruptions just yet, but as we know, Wendell going to be here much sooner.
Hex Flash?
Yeah, Hex Flash over the wall there by Taxa. Stefan trying to step up. It looks like the Herald is going to get that reset off, though, so Verdant will lose some tempo on it.
Oh, it just didn't reset, though.
Didn't fully reset. Verdant getting that one for free. Nativz, a little bit too slow to the play, and haven't really been able to punish somewhat on the bot side in response to this as well. Even with the murder guns on Denvoxney.
Yeah. You typically see Aphelios' cross map onto the tower with those murder guns, like you said, but they just couldn't do it. I think it's the lack of proactivity that can come out of a Zillion. You can't exactly dive onto Gooby to punish and cross map and dive, right? So there's no plates taken, right? Despite getting an early chunk on that initial roam failure when they tried to steal Crab, they just haven't been able to crack that turret.
It's so frequent you'll see, a 2v1 AD carry potentially get 3v1'd as well. If your jungler knows that you're not going to try and contest that, you'll just try and dive on the flip side of the map. Unfortunately, Zillion just not the best facilitator for that at all. You have to land double bomb, and versus Azaya, who's got cleanse, who's got ulti, you're only going to burn some of those cooldowns, and then you obviously risk getting rooted under the turret and taking down yourself. So nice to see that Verdant are able to just take one objective, not lose anything out on the flip side, and may well be able to translate it into another take of an objective. The Mountain Dragon not yet taken by either of these two teams. Verdant with a slight gold lead headed into this Drake fight. Most of that localized on Gooby. You can see he's got a Kraken Slayer fully finished versus the Boots and the Noon Quiver for Denvoxne. So decided advantage for Verdant for any fights they take bot side here.
Moonlight Vigil coming out from Denvoxne to take a little bit of health, but not really enough to gain lane control off the back of that one. And now the Moonlight Vigil's down. Verdant probably feeling very, very comfortable. Stefan coming in on that flank. They actually did get a bunch of damage onto Gooby with the Calibrum. He's pinned
the pillar
into the wall. Beautiful twist. Needs to land this slow. Doesn't actually go for it. The bomb comes down. Then Voxney away. And Dragon has been thwarted.
Yeah. Nice little chunk from... Honestly, Denvoxne is carrying these fights, right? Like, poking a Gooby off of the ability to do Dragon right there, committing the ultimate for it is... It looks weird at the start, but then you realize that Verdant just cannot commit to this, despite Taxa having started up. Now, Nativz, are they going to get Dragon here?
Nice job done there for Nativz on the bot side, and potentially a little bit more if they can take the Drake as well. We do know Taxa's sniffing around, but there's a Nico right nearby.
There's no quickness as well on Wendell, so there's nothing they can do. And they can guess this isn't Shikari, but it's now going to be confirmed for them. But it was in fact Vladdy.
If you were looking at the minimap there, Shikari was actually hiding out of vision.
Exactly.
Like, it's the biggest COD in the world. Oh, I wonder who it is. We've just seen the Rumble potentially be topside, and the option for a TP was available. But it's good to see that Nativz, at the very least, having a little bit of fun with the Nico, making sure that they are able to communicate as well between the two teams.
Do you guys remember old? I'm getting you some member berries out here. Do you remember old Zillion passive? Where the whole team got like a flat experience increase?
Yeah, that's pretty nuts, wasn't it?
Yeah, I do.
I remember. That was
Before
it. That was crazy. That was like the old Bjergsen mid Zillion phase, where it's just like his team just got level advantages just because he was playing Zillion mid.
Yeah, those are wacky times. There were some crazy passes. That sounds like the Twisted Fate Global Gold one as well. You imagine just stacking those? Like, what a time we lived in as. I think Democracy were alright. It looked like they were posturing for a dive there, but they have no way. There's a big slow stack here, and Nativz sniff it out, right? So no dive is going to be possible because they're just going to show and deny it.
Going back on the nostalgia vibe, one of the fun things that I'd been highlighted to was if you show a season 3 player a team fight from season 13 and tell them that this is League of Legends now, just how mind blown their like little brains would have been, right? You've got Kai'Sa dashing all over the shop.
Imagine seeing Cassante.
Yeah, literally, right? You show a season 3 player a fight from season 13 and just watch their minds boggle.
Cassante or Zeri on one team, it's no idea. I think
simpler days. Oh, they're going to get the charge out. Denvoxy should just be able to handle this.
What does a Rift? What is that thing, huh? You don't have those in season 3.
They didn't even have a Scuttle Crab. like all of the jungle camps look different. There's no jungle items really. I mean, you get that like starting one, but then that's basically gone.
And you have some classics, like how Kennen model hasn't been updated for about 12 years, right? Same with Rumble. I mean, this skin was probably out in Season 3, even though it's an absolute banger. Yeah. Shikari might be looking for some lethal here, maintaining that heat. You can see Taxa's actually moving up over a ward. Stefan, rather.
You're going to see him. Pillar should come down. That's a good interrupt. Flash away. Carpet laid down. It's electrified, but it's not going to do much. As down goes Stefan.
This entire series, the Trundle Pillars have been on point.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter who's playing it. They've just been brilliant. Like cutting off chokes, making players walk the full long way around one, so they can't actually fit through a narrow gap that you think might be there, but you can't quite walk through.
Uh-oh. A quick pause. No. Right, while we had a pause, we're on the old nostalgia train. Really did. I've spoken to most people about this over the years. I'm curious, what change do you miss? Like, what one do you wish they didn't do? Because there's like that old Aatrox guy, right? He played like mained old Aatrox, and he's so sad that Aatrox exists in his current state and not just the old way.
I'm actually angry that he doesn't have an actual revive. Now, given the current state of Aatrox, I'm very glad that that's not the case.
Yeah.
But I think that just thematically, the fact that Aatrox doesn't revive with his ulti now made me very sad. that's like the go-to one. I might have to come back to you on a different one.
It's so easy. It's so
Hear me
easy.
out.
Go on.
Hear me out, and I feel like I'm going to tug at a lot of heartstrings here. There's two. Okay, the first one is Brutalizer. Just bring that back. Right, Brutalizer was so goated. Second one is I used to be a Rengar top main. I used to be a Rengar top main. Okay, a bit degenerate, but it is what it is.
Four-door
I miss. Yeah, that was one of them. I also miss Bone Tooth Necklace. Anyone remember that? That was the best. Right? That was the absolute best item. So goated.
Okay, so my most missed champion, and like since the changes, I still play that champ as well. I like the current version of them, but not as much as the old one. It's Old Galio. Old Galio is insane. I think I had like a then Voxney. Oh, the flash by Gooby is gonna find the kill. Then Voxney. What a flash!
It's just sit and revel with that, honestly.
Yeah. I was just a mind blow. Like, that was a really nice flash redirect. I thought Gooby might have taken it, but the feathers just don't do enough damage. Then Voxney manages to poke him out in time before. I wonder if he was hugging vision. We didn't quite see the beginning of that fight, but still, that might. More action.
Knight is dead. Vladdy gets a kill.
Natives are coming alive. Yeah, this mid game they've just been, I think, preying on Verdant's. We'll say. Mismanaged timings. I think they've been a little bit overextended in a couple waves now. We see Knight get caught out in mid lane. I mean, Gooby, honestly, being that far up in a lane after you've just taken the turret, very, very greedy to try and push out that extra wave without too much proper vision. And, you know, Nativz just actually playing a mid game for once. You know, all 4 games previously, we've just kind of seen dormant mid games. Nativz this time round actually trying to make something work.
Take a look at that ward, but next to red buff on blue side, right? That's a really neat TP ward if Nilly wants to take it. That could be how Verdant turn around this game after those picks. I want to see Nilly use that. He has the ultimate. He doesn't have the flash, but that could be a really sick TP flank.
Absolutely. 16 minutes on the clock. Dragon is about to spawn, and I do think Nativz team still needs them to be the ones being aggressed onto, so pushing in to the river, probably a little bit hard here for Nativz, as they want to be aggressed onto. They want to peel backwards. They are going to slowly but surely try and get some control of this river area. Top laners both not teleporting in. Nilly actually quite chunked out here, as Denvox is just going to try and get a shove onto this mid lane tower. Yeah, I mean, now Nativz can rotate over.
Nilla cannot TP in the lane. He's going to have to recall first. If he starts channeling TP, Shikari's just going to equalizer him and burn him before he even gets down there. Now you get to see Nilla sort of sitting in base, trying to use the home guards, potentially for a TP, but equally, potentially to try and get back to that top side as soon as possible. Now Shikari gets to trade the base, and this game of give and take, tug of war really, who's going to be the one to make the first move?
Yeah, unfortunately, they took away that pink when they placed a pink somewhere else. I think it was in that bush right there in the middle of the screen. Imagine if Nilly had that TP ward there. That would have been so good coming out of fog here, but unfortunately, it just wasn't there. And now, I think Nativ's going to be hard-pressed to contest this. Yeah, it looks like they're just going to go for the Herald. Verdant, rather.
Going to be a bit of a freebie there for Nativz, getting themselves their second dragon, getting closer towards that soul condition. As looks like we're going to have an Ocean Soul as our next one. And as much as Aragon did say, you know, it's not the best. When you're playing into the likes of a Jace who's going to poke, having that extra little bit of sustain could be the difference maker. Especially when there's going to be way more honey fruits and things on the map. So you have a lot more place to kind of like heal up and make sure that you're not going to get yourself poked out and taken down.
So these teams, they are slower, right? But I don't think it's been helped by the fact I think we've had like 2 Ocean Souls, a Cloud Soul, and a Chemtech Soul.
We had an Infernal in the first game.
In the first game, the one game that was not one of those. But yeah, I think we've been a little bit unlucky there, as Vladdy does not walk up and get baited in by Nita.
Not going to happen. The tower does get full fill in the top side, as Shikari will be able to get here and stop this before the second charge comes out. Pop goes the Herald. And everybody's on resets.
Here. Take a look at Vladdy's item build in particular. The Hextech Proto Belt being picked up for Vladdy means that his access to the backline will come in a little bit easier as well. You know, you can pop the ulti and then Proto Belt just before lands, and you get a little bit of an extra range increase on that, and a nice little extra bit of burst damage as well from the rocket belts as they activate. Nice to see that we've got some heads-up thinking, not just trying to play for the Verdant dive into me situation, but also that you can maybe make some plays for yourself as well, something that Nativz have been notably lacking this entire series.
It does look like it's going to be a bit of a shove here from Nativz. Not really going to be able to find too much more off the back of that one, as Wendell does want to jump forward. They actually throw everything down.
They have no
on
damage.
The 2 twists. In comes Nilly, though. Then Voxney maybe in trouble. They're trying to keep him alive. They hold that Chrono Shift for a little bit longer. And there comes Vladdy. Huge Moonlight Vigil to follow up onto the 2 members as Knight is chunked out. Vladdy, he's got the sustain. No! He's not going to stay alive. The Chrono Shift timed out beautifully. Mid falls for the side of Nativz, but mid and top on the side of Verdant collapses as Stefan chasing up, gets the pillar onto Gooby, finds himself knocked up, the flash over, the Feather Storm comes down, the Blade Caller to follow it up, Verdant find an opening, they find their kill, and down goes Stefan.
And just what a strange series of events. That engage was really confusing. But Taxa flash engages when nobody is nearby. Wendell has to ulti and E to get close enough to even knock up. But then you have a Poppy and a Rakan trying to one-shot a target. Nilly is nowhere near, right? They have to buy enough time for Nilly to get there, but even he can't collapse on it either. And then it just devolves, right? It absolutely devolves into, in the end, you have Stefan over-chasing and just running into a Featherstorm Zaya.
Chaos and carnage.
Yeah.
Pretty much what we got to see there. Neither team with a particular grasp on how that fight would have gone best for their side, and I think that Voxney, the recipient there of a couple kills, and manages to give himself that little boost toward what looks to be an Infinity Edge here. So this is pure damage in terms of that ADC build. Sometimes you'll see Storm Razor and a Gale Force for a little bit more maneuverability if you're up against squishies. And, you know, this is just going to be absolutely shredding through the front line of Verdant. It's not a particularly beefy one. Attacks are about the best form tank that they'll be able to find. But either way, Voxney, if he's critting, he's hurting.
Yeah. It's just, I don't know what they were trying to achieve there, because at worst, Aphelios can get a Zillion ultimate, right? So maybe they're hoping that someone can collapse sooner, but it just looks like a bit of miscommunication. Regardless,
this series has taught us anything, Aragon. It's that maybe those decisions are a little bit more prone to us than we should have expected.
Yeah, maybe I should expect this. But still, Niter down in the bot lane, shadowed by Wendell. Let's see if he can hit this tower, but realistically, Vladdy should be able to wave clear this out. He might be able to move up to mid because he has that prior on the side, but decides, no, I'm just going to recall, potentially complete my mirror mana.
Gold lead right now is very, very close. And honestly, been kind of the state in most of our games. It's actually been very close gold leads. It's not the best way to actually judge the power on the map, I found in this particular series. I think it's been more about that kind of map pressure and vision control and where they can kind of shove and play for. Right now, with the dragon spawning up in 30 seconds, Nativz really want to get their hands on that soul point and be able to kind of force Verdant into fight whenever they want. Wendell eats a pillar to try to jump away, so he gets sprung into the air. As Stefan will be able to deal with this ward.
Yeah, really important 2-item spike's been hit by both, but Grady carries Gooby.
Oh,
okay,
Taxa, no, jumps onto Voxney, but Voxney had the murder guns, and Taxa's health bar is melted.
Merciful there, DV. Missed his Q and his ulti, so it means that Taxa can get out to safety, probably in aid of the fact that he's got Shurelya's movement speed plus phase rush going off, but Nilla this entire time, as you can see, pushing out on that top side. Is that Nativz are going to take Soul Point. If Verdant are going to try and deny any souls, secure one for themselves, it's going to come at the cost of a full reverse sweep.
Yeah, I mean, this really hurts still, though, right? If you're Verdant, you want to try and find that engage. You can see Taxa Hex flashed over the wall to try and land that knock into the wall on the Aphelios, but even still, he just gets Zillion ulted, right? Even if he survives, so desperation. Nearly didn't have a ward to TP to either, so that fight looked a bit silly. I'm kind of glad they didn't commit to that and instead committed to the cross map. Still not going to get that turret. Let's see what Verdant can do. This is the patented, I keep saying this, the Verdant Baron dance. Let's see if they can find anyone as they face check.
So I touched on the Aphelios nerfs a little bit, right? The main nerf came to the green-white combo. The Sentry Gun's auto-attack speed got reduced by about a fifth. So you know, stack your shotguns a little bit slower. And in team fights specifically, that is quite the nerf. And probably where the most damage has been taken away from him. But things like Inferno, things like Red-White, largely unchecked in terms of the amount of damage that you're doing. And 2 1-on-1, 250 CS at 23 minutes into this game, DV certainly no slouch with the damage.
Not at all. I mean, you're seeing a little taster of the damage going out for him. Kraken Slayer, Infinity Edge. Able to do some serious damage here from Den Voxney. And Aphimus chains onto Stefan as we got ourselves a quick break. Quick pause, quick breather. And I can talk a little bit more about how old Galio change is the saddest thing ever. That champ was so much fun to play. My favorite combo was Nunu Galio.
Flash R?
No,
Oh, okay.
Nunu Galio. And then you buy ZZ Rock portals and you put 2 in a bush. And then you and the Nunu would stand in the bush. And when the team come to deal with it, you just headbutt R.
Darn.
And there's no outplay. There's no outplay to it.
In 2019,
You're the type of guy that tells me that he likes Banner of Command, aren't you?
Yeah, this is exactly
No.
what I was going to say. I played competitive when Banner of Command was that stupid gimmicky thing it was. Do you remember? You just put Banner down in bot, and there was a whole meta of buying like 4 banners, and people would have like their chess piece banners going down bot. It's the most
I remember supports having to take minion dematerializer purely to save for the
and
cannons.
Nunu
Yeah,
becoming meta.
yeah, just to eat them. That was an awful meta. I liked Banner when it wasn't that. When Banner was like not just so broken, but everybody had to build it all the time. We're in a replay. We're not actually in a break. This
Yeah,
is just a replay.
I'm seeing this again. Yeah, that was the failed
seeing
engage. Yeah,
This
that
was
the
so weird
failed
because it
engage.
actually was like a massive win for Nativz. And then like they just overcommitted. Like they were fine here. Even with this trade on Vladdy, they got Niter. They could have probably just taken mid tower because all of Verdant were too chunked to defend.
Yeah.
But Stefan just said no, Gooby die, and Gooby went no, you die, flash feathers.
Ooh. Definitely think they could have either taken mid tower or just move in and get vision for this Baron that's spawning as well. There's no way you can test. You get topside vision. And...
Someone has
is it a
reconnected.
replay or is it a pause? I think it was a pause, and we're continuing the break.
I swear I heard game sound there, but I didn't. Did they unpause it?
Like on Stefan's side, maybe.
Okay.
Taxa DC.
Oh,
Taxa
Taxa
DC
DC,
is
yeah.
the update we've received from production. Taxa definitely has disconnect. Okay. Any other nostalgia tidbits?
Gallia,
Anything you guys can
no,
remember?
GP. Do you remember GP, old GP?
Bank
Champion was
plank!
terrible. The
It
champion
was awful. He was so bad. I'm actually a new GP main. GP and LeBlanc are my 2 go-tos. GP is such a good champion now. Like, they just nailed that theme and such a good redesign. What the hell were they doing with old GP, man? Avarice played GP. What was that?
Yeah.
Avarice played Ash.
Oh, I mean, it was Forgiven with the Avarice played Sivir, right? Like every game just spend
And
that
then every
800
ADC.
gold, and
Yeah.
then it's just like 800 gold on Avarice Blade, and then just sit up and farm. I feel like both the AD carries this game probably miss Avarice Blade from like this series. They've been very slow farming, and the Avarice Blade would have just paid off. What did it build into? Static, right?
Static Shiv.
Yeah, it was Static Shiv. Was that the only item it built into?
Yeah.
What a
It
silly
was Avarice
item.
Blades.
No. There was a
was
Sword
it-
of the Divine, no?
Oh, that was before that. Yeah, that was old school. Yeah,
Sword
it
of
was,
the Divine.
okay.
Sword of
Yeah,
Divine
you're right.
and Static was like a period as well towards the end of.
How about no, this didn't build out of Avarice Blade, but Sword of the Occult. You
That I was
Okay,
season 3,
low-key.
so that was before my time.
No, I so the thing is, that item was actually really bad. There's like a
It was
lot of
just
items.
AD Magi's, right?
Yeah, but like the stats it gave were not comparable to Medjai's.
Oh, replays.
Yeah, replays. Like I think this was a really nice pick. The flash forward from Taxa to capitalize on the knockup from Wendell's actually super good. Like damage foreshadowing. They know how much damage they deal, right? It was super good to punish on the thing. And then this with Shikari waiting in the bush. Oh, we finally got to see the replay of this fight. Dinvoxney actually camped this bush on a pink ward, so he knew Gooby didn't know where he was. Really sick play, honestly.
That was beautiful. That was, it really was. Just seeing some of the early action from this game, and hopefully we do get some more. I'm trying to think of like other things I miss from League. Like obviously Dominion, right? Dominion was.
guys
You missed Dominion? I played
Oh,
0 games
was
of that
awful.
game mode.
Dominion was so fun. I actually learnt to play LeBlanc on Dominion. I was like, I don't want to play this in Summoner's Rift, so I just like learnt her combos by like I didn't play the game properly. I was just running around killing people on LeBlanc.
I think that's what
Dominion
ARAM's
so much.
for.
Little
Yeah, but you can't
anecdote.
always guarantee the champion. You don't get the isolated 1v1. You don't really get to play the right thing. So, yeah, I miss Dominion. Dominion was
Little
sick.
Dominion anecdote. I played against Betsy. I don't know. This is an old name. A pro player called Betsy, and he said hello to me. And I think I was like 15, and I fanboyed so hard. I think he played on like Giants back in there in LCS.
Yeah.
I think that's the only positive experience I've had on Dominion.
Why was Giants Betsy playing Dominion?
Well, no idea.
The
Really
one I
odd.
genuinely do miss Twisted Tree Line though. Like, I'm so sad that mode's gone. That was actually the mode I enjoyed the most in League. I actually really love Twisted Tree Line. It's so much fun.
Okay, let's do arena takeaways. Have we played any arena before we do this or no?
Yeah.
No.
I think
No?
okay. I don't think my arena take is a hot take at all. Arena's a great mode. It just needs like ARAM style balancing because some champions are a little bit too strong. It's an amazing game mode. It just needs like certain champs are just in a little bit too strong of a state.
Yeah. I think,
If we get another pause, we can transition back to that one. But for now, we do have obviously match point.
Bro,
in
it's Nativz Verdant. You have time.
Yeah, well, I know I do, Jake. But I've got to set the stakes. Remember, the winners here go to EMEA Masters, right? This isn't just another game. This is the first NLC representative that we're going to be sending to the Summer Championships of international competitive play.
Yeah. And I imagine it's going to pick up in about 2 minutes time, or 1 minute 30 time, when Dragon spawns up. Taxa.
Just hold it.
Yeah, Taxa trying to find something. He might be picked here. Oh, that flash is going to be crucial. Flash stuns on Popular, a lot of your power budget, right? And now they might be taking that and moving to the Baron. Although they might just play for mid turret and then secure vision that way, and using mid turret being taken down, you have a lot more avenues into the jungle, and what that provides is the ability to find flank wards as well.
Potential assassination attempt here from Naita.
Yeah, there's looking at Shikari. Good flash away.
Really
Shikari actually might have him here. Misses the equalizer though. A little bit awkwardly later. Uh-oh!
Stefan?
Uh-oh! Here comes Stefan. He's
Look,
chasing.
Baron,
Knight is going up for it. Baron is up though. They need to make this pick quick. Knight gets the movement speed, pillared in place, knocked back, but it ain't going to do too much here. Harpoon's
Naita?
coming down. Knight has flashed forwards, and they're trying to chase him. They might not be able to get him. Knight on the run. Jumped and eaten.
But look at the cross map here. Nothing has happened on the flip side, right? Nativz just commit 2 people to that bot side. I think the recompense is that Vladdy had to flash, then Boxing had to heal, if I'm reading the summoner spells right there. And I don't think that Verdant really committed anything either way. Looks like maybe Wendell looked for an engage with the quickness and flash. Vladdy was able to get away. For a pick on the side lane, this late on into the game, I would have expected more repercussions. Ultimately, neither side going to really make the most of it, and Nat is dead for 20 more seconds, but it doesn't look like Nativz are going to get anything from it either.
Yeah, I definitely think they had time. Maybe they didn't expect Naita to survive so long. I don't think we did, but that phase rush cooldown coming off came in really clutch and managed to buy a few more seconds. Regardless, Dragon is now up, and crucially, Naita will be able to TP, but he has no flash. Same can be said for Wendell for that flash knockup, and Vladdy also for that flash knockup, but still, Dinvoxne and Gooby, the key members, the key DPS of both teams, do have flashes. Let's see how they reposition using it.
Well.
Ooh, that hurts.
Teleporting into the mid lane here from Vladdy. You can see the stock that Nativz are putting on this mid tier 1 turret. The value that it provides to you in any game of League as we approach this mid game. Very, very high. If Nativz can keep that one standing, it gives them a good default place to stand from and allow them to move into both sides of this river. Verdant obviously staring down 0 Drakes of their own versus 3 for Nativz. A soul for Nativz gives them immeasurable teamfight power.
Yep, they are chesting up here. They're going to get in place. Stefan's going to try and steal it, but that is the bop to secure the Dragon, and a denial from the Ocean Soul. But then Voxney on that flank here. If he can land this, he might be able to find a kill. Wendell jumps to nothing. He is popped by the Gravitum.
And that could be Baron. That's a huge pick from Dinvoxne. He runs right at them. No fear at all. They're going to take control of all of this vision, and it's just being started up.
And the best part is there's no Keeper's Verdict to knock them away this time. Using it for a Drake to make sure that Native didn't get Soul may well cost them in the long run, meaning that they can't get the Baron. Now Shikari doesn't have Equalizer here. That big Rumble ulti team fight tool not going to be available, but Pot Blossom is still available for Vladdy, and he's got a really good flank angle as well.
Yeah, Nilly, he's going to have to make this one work. Look at him jumping. Taxes goes on. Then Voxney trying to get away. He's actually not been hit by any of this damage as Vladdy lands the 2-man Pot Blossom. That's going to be the kills. Gooby chased down, but he's got the feathers. He's got the damage to work with. Beating the whole team. Gooby with a triple kill. How on earth did he do that? He saved the day.
We're still going, guys. This is an absolute barn burner of a series. We've made it to 28 minutes. We finally get our first 5 versus 5 fully fledged amount of action between the two teams. And it's Gooby stepping up for Verdant. One of the carries that we'd said wasn't going to be able to live up to Den Voxney. But this series, he's had DV's number at every single corner, holding back Nativz at that Baron fight and keeping Verdant in the game.
Yeah, and crucially, nothing popped the feathers at all. The ultimate from Gooby was not popped until so late in the fight when he could pull off that 1 versus 3. I thought the fight was doomed for Verdant because that Kennen ulti looked really suboptimal, not going onto Den Voxney there and letting Den Voxney free here. Unfortunately, following that, Stefan, everyone follows up and chases Gooby 1 versus 3. They keep disrespecting the feathers and the potential ultimate. Does look like it's going to be another. Yeah, it's the Baron stands. It's going to be another neutral lane stay, and both teams are going to move up into this Baron to secure vision. Verdant do have control right now, though.
And given that we've got neither side with a particular advantage, I mean, the beauty of this game specifically, right? We came into it and said, for the first time, we really like both drafts. We can see what both of them are going to achieve. I mean, Gooby here should be in a lot more trouble.
Yeah, they are looking for it, but the Keeper's Verdict coming down. Nope, it doesn't.
Okay. Stefan just landed a God Pillar there, and everyone was like, all right, cool. Yeah, could have done way more with that, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, I mean,
looks like
pillars have been so insane. Yeah, these pillars have been so insane, but again, it's just another stalemate, isn't it? I think both teams are so nervous to throw that it's just going to come down to a 4th dragon. I really do think that the next dragon is where it decides everything. As Niter is going to cross-map down to bot side. The onus really is on Nativz. They're on a timer right now as Niter is split pushing here. And he does have TP, so if they do stop Baron, he can TP over. There are a lot of flank wards.
Shikari to answer the bot lane push. Also with teleport, so not the worst thing in the world for either of these two teams. And we get to see at the minute that the amount of just, I suppose, tension built up between the two sides, right? Verdant have been in such a good position for so much of this entire series. The 2 games that they lost, they were winning those games for 70-80% of them. Finally got ourselves what feels like a dead even stalemate. We're about 31 minutes into the game and just the slightest advantage for Verdant. Niter gets forced to flash as the rest of his team have started up Baron.
Yeah, Wendell is on that flank though, looking for the opportunity. The Keeper's Verdict goes down. There's the pop bottom. Tax is in danger. He's got Baron for his team, but at what cost? I say that, but Vladdy goes down immediately. Shikari's trying to toast Nilly. Nilly gets slowed in place, just being repeatedly pinned down, but a massive chrono shift saves the life of Shikari. 2 for Baron. I'm pretty sure that Verdant are going to be okay with that one, but Nativz is being run down. Then Voxy's trying to chase, seeing if he can get him race to land that Graviton. Moonlight Vigil's about to come up. They've got the Zillion speed. There's the pillar. There's the Graviton. There's the dunk. 3 members of Verdant down.
And Niter just hasn't been able to have an impact all game long. You saw at the start, Den Voxney routed him out. He got so chunked just from the autos from the sniper gun. In the end, Taxa managed to secure the Baron, but it's a 1 for 4 at best. Now, how does the next dragon look? That's incredibly important. Yes, you secured Baron, but realistically, the main objective you want to consider now is that Soul.
Yeah, and look at the death timers, right? Niter, dead for 30 seconds. Drake spawns in 18. It's a 12-second window where Niter just isn't going to be a part of the fight. Nativz immediately double teleport into this mid lane, push the lane, get Prior, walk into the river, secure yourself vision. Wendell, he's found himself a pocket here where he can sneak in and try and find the game-disturbing fight that keeps him alive. Nativz, they're going to start this up, and remember, this is just a fight disadvantage. They've got no numbers here, Verdant.
Oh, they've got to get that verdict down, but I don't think it's going to happen. There's Soul over to Nativz, and that is a rough one now for Verdant.
Yeah. The Keeper's Verdict gets interrupted by the pillar. Again, another example of a beautiful, beautiful pillar you guys highlighted, and just that wave clear. That blue into red gun combo for wave clear is just absolute filth, by the way. I have to say, it's really, really satisfying. But still, look at this fight. You can see, oh, it's not quite the dragon fight, but still. Yeah, look at Niter. He got chunked so hard, and there's this beautiful engage from Vladdy. Gooby doesn't manage to react in time, and he actually doesn't fall, but it's still, he's forced to use R. And off the back of that, Verdant just fall apart.
You're seeing the late game scaling as well that comes from this Zillion, weirdly enough. And If there was ever a champion that exhibited to you how overpowered movement speed as a statistic is, Zilean does that tenfold. We saw DV there chase down Niter using the Zilean movement speed twice. We've seen Twist be able to keep himself alive and catch people off guard. Nilla, for example, around that Baron, just had nowhere to go when he's caught in the Zilean stun. So Twist with 5 points in that E, by the way. Very happy to keep people at bay.
Oh. He took a fair amount of damage there. That might have dissuaded somewhat of this shove.
Yeah.
Just be able to get cleared away, though.
I thought he was going to get stuck there, but fortunately his hitbox is pretty small. Still, managing to secure that tier 2 tower. Can they secure mid tier 2? I probably not. Just going to be satisfied with counter jungle here.
Despite the fact that Nativz have secured themselves the soul, they're still at this gold disadvantage. Turrets on the map, gold on the board. Still very much in favour of Verdant. Gooby, level 18, full build now, doesn't get any stronger unless he wants to sell his booze.
Yeah. No flashes for anyone on the side of Nativz outside of the Zilean, and that's not exactly very useful. But yeah, you highlighted Denvoxney. He's using that Zilean move speed so well. Every single time there's a good fight for the side of Nativz, it's Denvoxney walking forward and pelting the enemy team, whether it's Niter, whether it's Wendell, and chunking them before the fight even starts. If we keep seeing this, I think it might be Nativz favored.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think Denvoxney, there's a few champs who I think he looks at his best on. Kai'Sa and Aphelios are two of those. Always super clean on them. And been kind of given that. Obviously, that 2-level deficit is a little bit of a problem because obviously when you level up on the Aphelios, you get those extra stats, depending which one you want to take, lethality, AD, or attack speed. But he's closing in. He's still got 1 item to go, 1 level to go. He's going to go get himself a Zeal. So he's still ramping up in power, and he's been doing a lot of work already as it is. Shikari, 3 items in. Nilly, 3 items in as well. But there's definitely a bit of a gap here, a little bit of a deficit between Vladdy and Niter in the item department. Zhonya's Hourglass still on the way here for Vladdy. Still needs a little bit of more time until he can get that finished up. And I think that Zhonya's is going to be a super valuable buy here for Vladdy. His ability to kind of get that stasis off in the middle of the fight and make sure he doesn't just get insta-pop, and that Pop Blossom is as effective as possible.
You can see just how safe both teams are willing to play here. Neither one of them are stepping up to contest this mid wave. They're just watching minions die in front of them, and we're waiting for, 2, 3 other members to walk onto the map before they feel confident to step up and hit this wave. Shikari's the one that, first of all, bites the bullet and says, all right, guys, I guess I'll farm bot lane. We'll see if they show up mid or if I die. You can maybe try and make something happen on the other side of the map. Fortunately, it's nothing. And again, both teams just cycling their way through, making sure that they can get the mid push into whichever side of the map they want to go to first. Baron, next objective to spawn. So likelihood is that we're going to see a lot of focus toward this top side.
Yeah. Nilly is actually pushing out down bot side, so they will have the pushing lane, and that puts Nativz on a small timer.
Wendell! He's in danger. He can jump the wall, but they may just find the kill! Denvoxney evaporates his health bar.
That's terrible, right? So many Rakans think they're super safe just being able to get vision any time. But look at bot lane. They have to answer down bot side. Otherwise, the equalizer.
A little bit of a miscommunication.
Plus the pillar, though. It burns Tax's flash. That means him getting into a pit now, again, substantially more difficult. Yeah, Nille pushing out that bot lane. You see Shikari channeling a recall to try and get there in time. Knight is going to be here as well. It surely can't come down to a base race. Not like this.
No, Shikari, though, he can't die. He needs to clear out this wave. No equalizer available to him, though. He will lose an inhibitor. His team aren't going for the base race. They can't go for it. They may try and keep the pressure up, but Baron spawning somewhat soon. Shikari will toast through this wave while his team go for Baron.
Verdant and Nilly have TP, though. If Nativz start this Baron up, they could TP. There it is!
There it is. They've got Nilly's ultimate while Shikari does. And Shikari looking to teleport and join into the team. The Baron's already been secured. Vladdy Pop Blossoms to buy space. Nilly trying to chase forward, unable to do so. Nativz get that Baron, and they get the hell out of dodge.
Okay, so again, very fine margins for both of these teams. Nativz securing neutral objective. Verdant securing the gold.
Elder.
Bot lane tier 3 turret goes down. With Elder spawning in 40 seconds, you're quite right, that inhibitor. Maybe that extra added pressure. Nativz may not necessarily have wanted. Remember, with an Ocean Soul, we favour them in fights, but Wendell here, sneaky as always on this Rakan. Looking to see if he can find a pick. Still has that stopwatch, remember. So very powerful Rakan tool to keep himself alive. Also worth mentioning here, Gooby
Wendell
did indeed sell the boots.
Wendell,
this is a
they've
really
spotted
nice
out
flank angle.
Denvoxny. They're pinging him. He has both flash and that heal available to him. Is Vladdy going to check?
They have no idea.
They have no idea. Wendell, he's going to pop out now. They do see him finally. Wendell may just get himself collapsed onto. Pops the quickness. Tries to get the cleanses on. Tries to get the damage down. Taxus jumping for Denvoxny. Denvoxny gets the Moonlight Vigil. Misses out on the mark as Nita has found Shikari. Shikari's down. There's the Pop Blossom in response. The slicing Maelstrom hits Diddly Squad as Denvoxny's able to get him. The Feather Storm does buy some space with the Feathers getting pulled back, but Denvoxny with that movement speed. Flashing forward. Finds the shutdown. Gooby's down. Wendell's down. Triple kill for Denvoxny and Verdant's opportunity. This series was in their hands and Nativz fought back. There's the ace. That should be the base. That should be game. And that should be EMEA for Nativz.
Nativz never once this series looked like they were going to be able to take a single game, but in Game 5 they muster up all their courage, put Denvoxny on the hyper carry that he's been playing this entire season long, and book their ticket on the international stage.
Down goes tower number 1, tower number 2. Taxa's not up in time. I didn't doubt them for a second. Nativz take the series.
What a back and forth